All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this awesome world of ours. Here we are again, back for our FEMCEO Business Real Talk with a lot of my friends here today, entrepreneurs, leaders, coaches, speakers, authors, you name it. They are the experts in their niche, in their market. And every single week, we are here to entertain you, to educate you, right? And to make things a little easier for you. As an entrepreneur, as entrepreneurs, we know exactly how that feels like, right? But guess what? Today, I have some exciting thing I want to announce to you with you guys is the fact that we have a presentation today, and we are going to start this off with our attorney, an expert and leader in her niche. Her name is Crystal Foushee, and I'm so excited to actually learn even more from her. I've known her for a while now, and let me tell you, she is a powerhouse. She is a trailblazer in her niche. And guess what? She is about to give us the information we need to learn more about contracts, and not just contracts. These are for clinical contracts, managers and negotiators and all that good stuff. So, Crystal, good morning, my dear. Are
Good.
you ready?
I am ready. I am ready. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share this presentation. And you all let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be in the world, and welcome to the presentation of C&D Academy and C&D Consulting. I'm so privileged that you have chose to allow me a few minutes to discuss with you exactly what these businesses do. And let's get started. So just kind of give a shout out to Iris. Iris was my business coach and helping me to get C&D Academy. So this nice little logo up here we worked on for many months. And so I just wanted to give her a shout out behind that. So thank you, Iris. Actually, let me put my keyboard up here so that it's easier to move. All right, so we're starting out with Meet the Owner. That's me. Again, Iris said my name is Crystal. I'm Crystal Foushee. I am the owner of C&D Academy and C&D Consulting. I started my career after I left law school in clinical research. People are like, what is that? Clinical research is when we're testing study drugs on humans. So when we get through an animal phase testing, we start to test the drugs on humans. And what I did in my past and kind of where I started out in-house, I negotiated the contract between the pharmaceutical company that was going to test the drug and the hospital where the drug was going to be tested. So for example, like if Merck was going to test a new drug, I would draft the hospital between them and Duke Hospital where the drug was going to be tested. I worked my way up from coming in as a contracts manager up to a U.S. Contracts manager lead. I love what I do in clinical research, but people really are my passion. I noticed when I came into the industry that it's kind of fight or flight. So you either knew what you were doing and you were going to be really good, or it was going to swallow you whole. There was not a lot of training when I first started. Thankfully, I had a wonderful manager that helped me out and got me started and gave us a good 2-week training to get started in the industry. However, not everybody has that experience. Normally, whenever you start in this type of industry, there's online trainings and they can be okay, but they're not very interactive. And for this niche, for this particular position, a lot of times you're getting different types of trainings versus the one that you actually need. I've had my contact information down here for you. But I'll also post it again at the very end of this presentation. Let's see. Oh, I also wanted to mention my alma mater is Carolina. We UNC, not to be confused with South Carolina. UNC Chapel Hill. We actually got a W this weekend in football, which is rare for us. So I'm going to take this time just to shout out my alma mater. We got a W. We're going to roll with it. It might be the only one we get this season, but we're going to take it. I was born and raised, like I said, born and raised in North Carolina. Proud Tar Heel alumni. And I think that's enough about like me. Let's get into the businesses. So this is just a quick table of contents. We already did our meet the owner. I'm going to give you a little more background on both companies, my vision, what I offer, like a little quote to kind of keep you going, because sometimes as contract managers or even entrepreneurs, we get a little uninspired. So maybe I can just spread a little hope during your day to day. And then again, like I said, I'll give you my contact information. About the companies. So I actually have two. I started out in 2017 with C&D Consulting. And it literally was just happenstance that I happened to start a business with a client out in California. California law requires that if you're going to contract or offer your services, it has to be through a business and not an individual. And that prompted me to start my business. And then through working with that company, I just started thinking, well, what could I do? How could I take it to the next level? And then that's when I started actually kind of going out, venturing out, working on different type of contracts, taking different type of contracts. It is crucial in this role or in this industry that you have an expert moving your contracts. If you work here, if you work in the industry, you know that contracts is always like a bottleneck. It's always whenever there is an issue or there is slowing down of negotiations or slowing down of getting something done so we can actually start enrolling patients, contracts is normally to blame. So it's very crucial that you have a very experienced, seasoned, well-trained person in this position in order to move it quickly. So that's where we came up with C&D Consulting. A couple years, fast forward 7 years, I'm out here, I'm promoting my business, I'm working on contracts, working with sponsors such as UCB Biosciences, Zencore Inc., Astellas, different companies over the years. And I'm hearing the same thing over and over again. I keep being introduced to new contract managers or contract managers that have been doing it for a year saying, hey, we don't have enough training. We don't have enough information to get us to where we feel we need to be comfortable. And, you know, one part of it is if you don't have a manager who's actually experienced in it, that's kind of hard to do. And like I said, there's not a lot of trainings out there for you to take. So lo and behold, this brainchild of mine, C&D Academy, pops up. And I say, well, what if I actually started creating trainings? You know, I've been doing this for years. I can tell you what you need to do in order to be successful. And to actually, it's more about organization, right? Because success is going to depend how hard you work, but I can give you the tools to get you organized, to get you to where you need to be, to move your contracts faster, and kind of give you basic fallback and guidelines to get you moving, get those contracts moving. So that's where C&D Academy come from. We have our initial training up where I go over organization, basic skills for training for confidentiality agreements, and basic trainings for clinical trial agreements. Again, clinical trial agreement is where we're testing between the pharmaceutical site and the hospital. A confidentiality agreement is like an NDA. It's what we sign pre a clinical trial agreement. We want to ask a doctor or a site if they're interested in actually participating in our study. Well, we have to share some type of information with them in order for them to see if they're going to be interested. Well, in order to do that, you have to execute. We call them a confidentiality agreement, but they're called NDAs as well, a non-disclosure agreement. So that training gives you kind of your baseline of where you need to be. And then from there, you're more than welcome to reach out to me personally. We can schedule coaching. I can actually, help you through things if you don't have, adequate senior leadership to help you get through there. It's a really quick background. The vision. So my vision for C&D Academy is literally to equip clinical contract negotiators and professionals with the knowledges and the skills that they need to negotiate the contract successfully and protect the interests of all parties involved in clinical research and healthcare. I cannot tell you how many times it is just crucial that you have somebody in that role that knows what they're doing. You can save companies a lot of money. You can ensure that, if anything goes wrong, it's taken care of in that contract. And we don't have to worry about, ifs and ands and if something goes wrong. So I literally just want to create very successful people in this role, because it can be a lucrative role. It was very helpful to me right after law school, and for so many others that I've been able to bring into the company. it's just crucial that we have that. So we're going to be working on getting that vision out and getting equipping more of our contract managers with better training. So these are the services that are offered between both companies. I've advised senior leadership on contract strategy so that we can reduce turnaround times. I can provide comprehensive trainings for basically any type of contract negotiation or fallback within the clinical research realm. I've drafted those types of contracts and confidentiality agreements, templates, fallback provisions, any type of guidelines. I like to cater it to whatever that entity needs. So what a mid-sized pharmaceutical company may need may not be the same thing that a larger or smaller pharmaceutical company may need. So, and then the site or the hospital will definitely need something completely different from either party. So, just working with them and really catering to what that business need is. And like I said, I almost always have to speak to senior leadership and trying to draft, different proportions. You'll have business decisions and legal decisions, and just really working in a comprehensive environment to get to a template that we can all be happy with. Well, maybe tolerate, not happy with. I just wanted to leave on a higher note, just let you know that it is very hard sometimes to stay inspired and to be creative, but I wanted you to know that challenges will come. They will, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, they will come. They will never stop coming. What we generally have to do is control how we react to them, or what we how we handle them, right? So whether you're, like I said, in-house or entrepreneur in life, just stop and breathe and know that you are equipped to handle any challenge that is thrown your way. You have the skill set to get it done. If you feel like you don't, or you're just kind of out there, because sometimes that happens, right? I can be a resource for you to reach out to. I've put my email address here. My next page, I'll also give my contact information again. Just know that you are supported. You have it. You got it. You really do. I know sometimes it doesn't feel that way, especially in the beginning. It takes about a year to kind of for the cobwebs to clear and for it to actually start to make sense of how all the moving parts work. But you are equipped to handle this role. Thank you again. I hope I kept this short and sweet. Iris knows my saying, if you can say it in a sentence instead of a paragraph, say it in a sentence. So hopefully this was very informative and you got what you needed. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at any of the contact information here.
Wow. Thank you, Crystal. That was amazing. Thank you for such short and to the point presentation, right? I mean, I was hoping like maybe 20 more minutes, but you've got everything here, which is amazing. I love that. I love that. And before we get into the conversation and discussion, because as you know, I have questions, that. And I also want to definitely share those questions with everyone. That way, whoever else is going to watch this, they can get more information from you. But as you know, we do this business talk every single week. And today we just jump right on in without me even introducing the rest of the gang, right?
We're all old friends here.
I know. You know me, right? Let's just get down to it, and then we will backtrack and do whatever we need to do. But but anyway, I wanted to introduce as well here is that we have Mark Guy, which is the one and only Mark Guy in my book anyway. He is an awesome TEDx speaker. He is a leadership coach, and I've known him since we were babies, right, Mark? So I'm kidding.
Yes, tiny babies. We still have pictures, but we're not going to show them around.
No. We weren't cute then. We're cuter now. So yeah. We also have the wonderful and really soft-spoken Miss Elizabeth Judith. Oh my gosh. She is so sweet. She is such a sweetheart in my opinion. And she's here with us. So hi, Elizabeth. Hi, you guys can mute yourself. So yeah, we can have conversations now. And then last but not least, Carmela Johnson, my wonderful leader over there. And she's actually at the airport. So yeah, and look at that. She shows up no matter where she is. That is dedication, my folks, my friends. That is dedication. It doesn't matter. I don't think she's got good internet connection over there. Mind you, she's in the airport walking back and forth and trying to catch her plane.
I'm actually on my flight right now. Sorry.
she's in the plane.
Yeah, she's in the plane.
Oh my God. See, this is great. Carmela, thank you so much for, you're bringing us with you. So where are we going?
We are going to Chicago. The NFL season starts, so my baby will be on the field Sunday.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. We'll be watching. My husband and my kids will be watching.
Chicago versus, thank you.
Yeah.
Chicago versus Green Bay.
Awesome. You know what? You forgot to pick me up because, I can fit in a suitcase. I'm just kidding.
You know what? The next time my suitcase is 99 pounds overweight, I know Ires is in the suitcase.
I snuck in. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, I am so glad. I'm so glad you're here. So let's get back to Crystal. Crystal, again, thank you again for this wonderful presentation. So now I have a question. Okay, I have a question. As you know, I started working with you months ago, and as a matter of fact, your niche, your market is different. It's not something that I do day in and day out because I coach entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, authors, all of those experts, but I've never had a chance to really get to know your niche, your market, which is in the clinical trial space. And because I wanted to challenge myself and I wanted to know that market as well. And let me tell you, the more I get to know that market and dive deeper, it is so complex. It's complicated, right? And working with you for those months, and even to this day, I learned that, not only all these acronyms, CROs and all those things, but I'm learning that really it doesn't matter what industry you're in, having someone, an expert like you, to really teach individuals like us. It doesn't matter if we're entrepreneurs, we're starting our own business, or we're case managers in your space, right? We need someone to somewhat handhold us in a way where you're training us, you're educating us to make sure that we are following not only guidelines and laws, but we're making sure that we are equipped to not only do our job, but to make sure that we are on top of our game, right? Because it seems like, well, not about every day, but I was going to say every day, but it seems like every year there's always something going on. There's always some new things that we have to learn, at least the people in your space. So my question is, what are some of the most common struggles or obstacles your current clients and entrepreneurs, the people you help with, basically face on a regular basis? What are they? And then how do you also help them overcome those challenges?
Well, it's different for a different type of client, right? It depends on what client that I'm asking. I would say the one thing that is kind of similar to both, and when I say both clients, I mean someone on the pharmaceutical side and someone on the hospital side.
Right.
The budget, money. Isn't that everybody's favorite topic? That is one of the things that is always a topic for discussion and negotiation. So you have different interests that they're trying to protect, right? You have a pharmaceutical company who is asking a site to run a study. What that means is that the site is the one that is actually going to get qualified to participate in the study. Then they're the ones that are going to recruit the patients. They're going to use their patient population to bring people in. They're going to see them. They're going to do the appointments. They're going to do the blood draws. They're going to do, report back to the sponsor. So they're actually going to do the legwork, right? So you have a competing interest of someone who is like, well, we have FDA guidelines we have to follow, which is a pharmaceutical company. We have to create a budget that's within fair market value. How the heck do we do that, right? Well, there are budgeting tools that are out there. A lot of them people don't like, but we have to have a starting point, and the sponsor has to always be able to prove to the FDA that we have a fair budget, so that we're not favoring certain sites over other ones, right? So that our huge academic sites are not getting favored over our smaller sites that may only have 1 or 2 doctors. Everybody's kind of on that same page with the budget. So the sponsor's kind of coming from that particular standpoint. We need a fair market value. The site, on the other hand, the hospital where they're running the drug, is always like, well, where are they getting these numbers from? This is not what it costs at all to run a trial. We need 3 times more of this budget, you know? And so then that's kind of where I come in. And then we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. Well, what is it that you actually need? And then in discussing, you know, is it that, you know, you need a study coordinator, you need this, you need that? Well, then that's a different conversation, because that's saying you, well, you're really not equipped to handle this study if you don't have, because, you know, if you don't have staff already on board that are going to run your study. Is it that, you know, we need to be covering labs, or we're not covering labs? Are there things that are covered by insurance that's actually not going to be paid by the sponsor? So then there comes a lot of back and forth, and I don't want to get too far in it because I could talk for hours on that. But there comes, like, there's got to be somebody in the middle that understands both sides. So I understand where you're coming from, I understand where you're coming from, and then how do we get to a happy medium? And really, I think it comes down to education. It comes down to educating. Let's sit down, let's talk, let's get where you're coming from, let's go back over here. Okay, this is what they're saying here and here. Oh, well, we didn't think about that, because that happens, right? You're creating a budget, you're using a tool, you're using artificial intelligence or whatever. You know, it's great, but sometimes it doesn't beat that good old human mindset, right? That actually goes over it line by line. And then we kind of go back and forth and get to a happy medium. An acceptable medium. I don't want to use the word happy because people might not be happy, but it's acceptable, right? We can make it work. And like I said, I really think it comes down to listening and education. And once we start there, then that's a huge thing. But if you're thrown in the middle as a contract manager and you haven't had proper training, you're just like, I don't know. They said they want this. They said that. Where do we go from here? So I think education and listening is like one of the biggest things, or 2 of the biggest things, excuse me, that that will help you negotiate kind of the main issue that I see in these contracts, which crazy enough, right? Sometimes it's not legal. It comes down to that budget. It's not a legal term that we're arguing over. It's a budget. Not, well, I hate to say arguing, but, you know, negotiating over.
Yeah. I have one last question, and then I'll have Mark and Elizabeth also chime in. So my last question is, I think this is one of your, you know, creating that online course that you have, the theacademycourses.com. I think that's one way to address some of the concerns, like, for case managers are facing right now, and they might not always know what to ask or do, right? Because it seems like they're just somewhat thrown into the field and they have to figure things out on their own. So, and like you said earlier, not a lot of people actually know that there is, no, I take that back. There's not enough training out there, unlike what you have. And that's where I think, you know, that's where your courses came in. That's the birth, that's the start of your training is having that course. And then obviously, if people want to connect with you even more because they want more Crystal besides beyond courses, then they can definitely contact you and you can get on having the conversation with them, right?
Right. So I've had many conversations with people over the time, and that's why, like I said, I was kind of what's the word, naive coming into it, because I had such a solid base, a manager who knew exactly what she was doing. She had been doing this for 10 years. So where I didn't know, you know, oh, we move this over here and move that over there, and then you'll be able to get what they're asking for. I didn't know that just by looking at it. She knew it though, right? So I had you know, kind of came in thinking everybody was in the same position that I was in, thinking that everybody had a training, everybody had a supportive manager, everybody had, you know, everything that I had, and it just wasn't there. So after talking to other people, I started saying, hey, well, just give me a call. right? Because what would happen? I would be out networking, I would be at a, event, and then people start talking about a particular budget. Well, we might not have the time to actually go through what actually needs to be said. And I'm a old school person. I actually want to see it. So, or walk me through it. So then I would say, hey, let's just connect a little bit later. We're here. Let's finish up this event. Unless it's like, ASAP, you got to have it done right away. Let's connect like next week and let's sit down and talk through it. And I have literally assisted with like, interviews, interview prep when somebody's actually trying to get into the industry. I've reviewed, somebody had to take a test one time. I was like, what? They were like, yeah, part of the interview was a test. And I was like, okay. I was like, are you able to use, outside sources? And they were like, yeah, you got 20 minutes, you can use whatever and come back. And so we just kind of walked through it. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, I don't know if I would have been able to pass this when I was first starting in the industry. So it's just interesting how things have changed now. So yes, I'm always available to connect, and I will try my best. And if I don't know, I will find somebody that does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Mark, Elizabeth, would love to have your input on this. If you have any questions or anything you want to add on, feel free to do so. I get tired of talking, so.
I yield to Elizabeth. I can ask questions, I'm sure. But I do have some.
Cool. First off, I just want to say, Crystal, that was really fun and interesting to be able to get to know what it is that you do on a deeper level. I've heard you talk about it a little bit before, but I got it today at a much more deeper level. And I thought I would ask you something that might help more generally entrepreneurs who are watching this right now, because you discovered this niche that had not existed before, right? This need that you were like, oh my goodness, people don't have this. And I think a lot of us entrepreneurs are looking for that, right? See a hole and fill it. So I'm curious, like, what are your top things that you're doing to educate your market out there, to connect with them and educate them? And what can you share with us about that?
So the very top thing, Elizabeth, is definitely boots on the ground, getting to these conferences where there are doctors, where there are sites, where there are pharmaceutical companies, and just starting to get the word out there, right? Being a sponsor at some of these events that they're having, speaking at these events, right? That's like the top thing, right? Because you're right. It was like a year and a half ago, I went to a conference. And again, this is just my naivety because I just didn't know. I had been on the CRO side and the sponsor side, but I went to this contracts. They had a contracts, like a learning. They were going through a contract. I've been through a contract a million times, but hey, I may learn something new. That's how I feel about it. So I go just kind of as a refresher and to learn something new. And as I'm sitting there, people that are raising their hands are doctors, and they're trying to learn the contract because they're going to negotiate it with a pharmaceutical company when they get back. Now, in my mind, I just assumed they had a contracts manager on staff. This is a thing. You're going to get clinical research. You're going to have somebody review the contract. What was happening was they were going to, like, every piece of legal or law is very specific to whatever somebody practices, right? If the divorce lawyer normally doesn't do criminal cases, things like that, right? So what was happening was they were contracting it out, they were spending tons of money, and they were getting back a lot of theory, right? Which in practice of law, that's a lot of times what happens. So they were getting back theory, or you could say this, but if you do, it means this, which is great. They weren't familiar with like the common fallback, things that are normally accepted in our industry, things like that. So I actually happened to be sitting with a client of mine who had come to the same conference. This was our first time kind of meeting face to face. I'd worked for them for 5 years, and they were like, you should help them, but don't let them interfere with our hours, but you should help them. So I couldn't even get my hand up fast enough before they recommended me right there at the conference. I got like 3 contracts as I walked out, but it was literally timing, right? Being in the right place at the right time. And I was literally just going to refresh and just see if there was anything new because I'm always looking for new techniques or new language because it's ever evolving, right? The more savvy, the more smarter pharmaceutical companies get, sites get, the language is going to change. So I was there literally, just kind of selfishly trying to make myself better. And then, out of the blue, I walked away with 3 contracts. And so that has been, really boots on the ground. I think these sessions like this help whenever it gets out, like what I do. I have a LinkedIn following. I've had recommendations from people that I may have only touched or talked to for a very short amount of time. That was surprising, right? Like one day I got a call out of the blue. They were like, such and such recommended you. I was like, really? I didn't even know they knew me like that. But great, great. Sure, I'll help you. Let's sit down and talk and see what you're looking for, what I offer, and let's see if we can get on the same page. So I think literally it's networking, and then actually showing up at these different places, these different events. When a platform is offered, such as this one, I am more than happy and just privileged to jump on and say, yes, let me tell you what I do, because I'm so excited about it. And then, being able to get it out there. So I think, networking, getting out there, having a platform, building your social media following, building LinkedIn, all of that I think helps to get the word out.
Yeah.
Very
Great
cool.
question, Elizabeth. Great answer, Crystal.
Thank you.
Very much.
You're
I love
next,
that.
Mark.
Hey, Crystal, thanks for sharing with us, and thank you for bringing your energy. I can feel your enthusiasm, and I think this perhaps one of your selling points, right? Your trustworthiness comes through every word you say. And I think in business and negotiation, it comes down to trust. Can I trust you to deliver the results that you promised to me? And it's just the sense that I get. One thing I wanted to ask you is, what kind of software tools or what tools do you use to keep everything, like your lifetime value of your clients, your nurture sequences, your email follow-up sequences, your lead magnets? I mean, do you have a comprehensive system, or do you have different things at different places? What do you use?
So different things in different places. So Iris and I had kind of talked about this earlier about getting maybe something more comprehensive. So most of my clients, I have to yield to whatever they're using, right? A lot of them use different contract. It's called a contract lifecycle management system, a CLM, such as Ironclad, Aptus, different ones. They use those tools. So I use those tools that kind of tracks. That kind of tracks where it is. I think, just in my own experience, it's a great tool, but it's a lot. It's like trying to encompass every type of contract in the world into one system. And unfortunately, I kind of think clinical contracts get lost in that. I actually thought about at one time developing a tool myself. We'll see if that comes on down, if that is created down the road. But they're so vast because they're trying to encompass every single contract that could ever appear in life, not just in clinical research, but whenever you would need to track a contract. I use a lot of budgeting tools. So those tools that people are not very happy about, like a grant plan, or Medidata has a grant plan, a manager, Medidata's manager, to build budgets and to kind of get that fair market value that's in there for me personally. Right now, I'm a huge Microsoft girl. I use all of the scheduling techniques that they have, all of the reminders, all of the automatic follow-ups, to kind of stay on task with where I am. One of my best things that I love is my Remarkable. It's a digital notebook. So I'm a note taker. I don't know if anybody else is a note taker, but I take a lot of notes. And I was having like piles and piles and piles of notebooks, and then trying to figure out, where did I write this at? Where did I write that down at? And then I happened to come across this advertisement, looking at Facebook. And I was like, this is wonderful. And so I loved it because I could jot something down, I could email it, I could search it, which was very important to me, because if I wrote something down a year and a half ago, but I know I wrote it down, let me get back to that. I don't have to search through notebooks now. And a lot of what I do is communication. I am still old school, so I like to talk on the phone. I know email is like the main way that we all communicate, but I love to pick up the phone and really talk to people about like what your expectation is, what you're looking for, and just kind of talking through sometimes if we have changes in the contract, what this means, what this looks like. and then let's go from there. So literally, just your basics, Microsoft, my Remarkable, and the phone, and they work for me.
Wow. Yeah. Sometimes we forget the basics, right? Because they work. Sometimes we focus, this complicated strategy. But I think if you do the basics well, it's a good foundation for the rest of it.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely.
I've written that down. Remarkable.
It's awesome. It is. Give me this. It is so awesome. I didn't know if I would like it because most people, or not most, but a lot of people use like an iPad or something like that to take notes on. But the iPad, you can go check your emails, you can go look at your messages, you can go do all this other stuff, where this is literally just a notebook. So the only thing you're going to focus on when you have this is notes. And so I like the fact that
you know what I love about that is because you're always taking notes, and you always have your latest notebook, but then you get a stack of them and you can't find anything out of it. It's like, that is like you're carrying around your notebook of all notebooks. It's all of them.
I have legal pads, like a whole drawers of them over here, right? Because
I have a little one.
I don't want to forget anything. Or Post-it notes everywhere, right? I was like, no, we got to stop this. We can do better in 2023. But now I feel like, this is like, I need to be an affiliate of these people, because I talk about this.
I know.
Right? I talk about this all the time.
It's just for notes, and you can't. Yeah, I'm going to look into that.
And nothing else. It's just for notes. And my intern loved it so much. She's done great work for me for the past 2 years. I gifted her one whenever she went to college. I was like, this is probably going to change your life. You ain't got to keep up with, when I was in college, it was one notebook per subject. So I would have a book and a notebook, a book and a notebook. And I was like, now you have everything right here. You don't even have to, you can create notebooks on here. I was like, you don't even have to keep up with,
Now this is something you might not know. But because I'm also looking at something called Obsidian. Have you ever heard of that? It's like a mind mapping thing, because I get my ideas, I have ADHD, and it's like they get all away from me, but they're all interconnected. And all my work, I love combining multiple tools that you wouldn't think would go together for a new. And so I'm looking for a way that I can take all of my notes, but I want to be able to research them, but it's a way of connecting them. They all get so I wonder if that would work together with that. I'm going to have to look into that, because if that works together with that, and I can almost be killing the two birds with one stone by just, you just might have changed my life. Crystal.
Well, that is wonderful. I'm glad I could. But yeah, I like anybody that knows me. I think you all are about the 4th or 5th group I've talked to about this thing, and it's a conversation piece, right? I get stopped all the time, and they're like, "What is that?" Because they're used to seeing an iPad, right? But like I said, the iPad, you might be writing a note and somebody texts, and then your train of thought is all thrown off, or it's something, it's something you got to do right then, so you get thrown off. This, you don't have that. It does connect to the internet, but the only thing it does, and let me tell you, my handwriting ain't the best, right? Like I might have been a doctor in another life, but it's not the best. So what this will do is it will convert my chicken scratch to Times New Roman 12 and send it in an email to someone. I actually did this with Iris when we were, I was jotting down ideas for something, and I was like, hey, I can email you right from here. And it converts it. You can leave it in, if you have very nice handwriting, you can leave it in your handwriting.
Now mine's all over the place. It all depends. I have multiple personalities when it comes to my handwriting.
It makes you look so smart. It makes me look so smart. I was like, no, I'm smart with organization and writing the notes, but and you can edit it, right? You can move it around, or it might think a word is one word and it's something else, so you can edit it. But the fact that you can just send it off is amazing in a very nice,
So does it have a keyboard too, or is it all handwriting?
So they just came out with a keyboard. They just did it. It launched 2 months ago. For the longest time, it was just the handwriting. But I guess somebody said, my handwriting is terrible. I actually need a keyboard. So now they have a keyboard, which I think they have, this is the second version. I think I have the second version. So I have to see that's compatible with the keyboard.
Well, sometimes when I'm brainstorming, I like to handwrite. I really am that but other times if I'm just if my brain's going fast, I'm actually a faster typer than I can handwrite. So
I like to be able to move things around. So I think that helps with the typing too. You can probably, because I am good about, that's why I love not Microsoft Word. It's the purple one. I can't think of the name of it right now, but you can like type over here, and if you forget something, you can put a little note on this side, right? And I love that because I'm bad for like, or you listen to a speaker and they'll give you like A, B, C, and D. Oh yeah, but let me go back to A. And I'm like, oh, well, wait a minute. I don't have enough space over here on paper, right? Now what am I doing with it? So now, yeah. I love anything that can help me be a better note taker.
An organizer of my thoughts.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm checking it out now on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Look, I need to be an affiliate. I promote this thing all the time.
You should get an affiliate. You need to sign up so I can put it under the this video. But yeah, I want to stay on topic in terms of tools. Elizabeth, what kind of, I guess, lead generation tool or any software that you use for your business?
Well, as far as like managing for me, I'm a huge fan of, my business is Kajabi. It's on Kajabi.
Oh yeah.
Which I just absolutely love. Not being a tech person, in a way, it's kind of like Microsoft in the sense that it covers like everything, but there's similarities. Like once you know how to do Microsoft Word, even though Excel and all that, it's a little bit different. You kind of, how where to find all the, the toolbars, that if you click here, or this is where I probably need to look. And it's very much like that for me. It does. So everything, I mean, it manages my contacts, it manages my shopping cart. I create my courses on it. I can create membership on it. I can do my podcast from it. I can do all my email from it. I just, in the last few days, they are introducing AI now to it. So I have now been like devoted this last week to trying to master using AI to be able to quickly generate my course content, the weekly emails, to stay in touch, to, it's not going to write it for you, but for me, a lot of times I can just get in analysis paralysis, trying to get started, the editing part, once you're in that mode, sometimes can be a lot easier and make it your own. So, and you can type in your own stuff of what you want it to work with to write too. So it's not just like you're creating, and they just keep adding more and more and more tools to what it is that they give you. And if you are going to utilize a lot of them, which I do, a lot of people who are coaches like me are having coaching program. I mean, the coaching experience for your clients is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. They have a portal and they click in, and they can attach you can have joint notes. They can write notes that only they can see. I can write notes for each particular session. I can put in any information or handouts or pamphlets or exercise. It's just it's beautiful. And a lot of us, if you use all of those different tools, it can seem like it's a higher end thing, but money is an issue for me. I like to keep my everything tight, but when you take into account, if you are using all or many of them, it costs a lot less, I think. And it's easier. There's support. Again, not being a tech person, I get on chat constantly and immediately get a hold of someone who walks me through whenever I get a glitch. Oh my God. So it basically runs in terms of, managing the work that I do, my coach, obviously I use all the Microsoft products too, but when it comes to actually what I'm creating and working with people, Kajabi is my go-to. And I love it. My website, everything, does everything.
That is awesome. Yeah, it's there's nothing like it when you find that tool that has like somewhat all-in-one platform where you can utilize for your business. It just makes things a lot easier because you're not learning multiple tools, you're learning just
Yeah.
one. It has
And plugins and all those, and they don't work well together and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. That's like that can create, like, as soon as something doesn't work
Oh,
well
well.
with something tech wise, I'm like,
Yeah.
I just, I can have a pity party real quick. It takes a lot of, I'm working on it.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. What about you, Mark? What exciting magic tool you have that you're using for your business?
I use
Zoom?
Google. Google,
Yeah,
the Google Workspace for everything.
that's true.
It's it's accessible. I use it every day. I'm keeping up with everything. I'm also using AI writing tools such as Jasper. Also having I use Teachable, Kajabi in the past. So all of those, and I'm glad that Elizabeth using Kajabi. It's has a very good track record, and it's about the experience with your clients, especially for coaching. It's not just one and done. I believe in the coaching space, if we as coaches, I think it can be a lifestyle business, but it can also be a scalable business when you do have like a joint ventures, and it's the experience and the lifetime value for you as a business owner from interaction with the client. It's, how can you serve them more? Other offers you can make, and I really love that. So I am all about the client experience, nurturing the client experience. And it's not just transactional for me, it truly is relational. And that's what I believe in.
Absolutely.
You live that, Mark, by the way.
Yeah.
I learn from you on that every day, it seems like, or every time I interact with you. I don't interact with you enough, but I don't get to interact with you every day, but every time I meet you, and you exemplify that.
Thank you. Likewise, we learn from each other. And also, I do want to say, our clients, they teach us, you get better and you can test things in real time, and you can remove things that don't work fast. We create different materials and then we test. Okay, then we can measure the outcome. Did the client travel where you promised? Was there results? How can you measure those results? And that's important, I think, for every coach. How can we measure the success and successful transformation of our clients based on a promise that we make? How can we measure that? Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. And every day, well, not every day, but, I learn from every single one of you each time we come on here, every single week. And because, obviously we're talking different topics. Now we're going to have presentation every single week. So we're going to have another one, next week. And I just really appreciate you guys. So now to answer one of the tools that I use, because I use many, I just happen to be a tech nerd, and I just love anything techie, right? One of the things, and this is possibly the most utilized platform out there, and I hope that a lot of entrepreneurs who are starting out will use this one. Now, granted, there's so many other platforms out there to choose from, but this one is obviously Zoom. And as you know, we are actually using it right now, but I use Zoom more as a lead generation, and I actually convert that into webinars. So with the webinars, you can turn it into a live event like this, live session, or you can pre-record and turn that into an evergreen where you record it, you put it out there, and you somewhat kind of forget it in a way, right? But it gives you that chance to not only build your email list, because that's what we need as an entrepreneur. We got to continually build our email list so that way we stay in touch with them. But you're also, in a constant, you have this ability to constantly train them, educate them on the things that you want them to learn along the way by having a webinar / evergreen tool for your business. And that way you're not always there. Because for me, I can only work so much, but my webinars are working 24/7. 24/7, and it's constantly bringing me leads, so I have something to do just about every day, right? And like I said, you can't really just set it and forget it. You've still got to do something with it. You still got to follow up. You still have to push out emails and things like that. And it's just one of those things that I think it really made my life easier and more proficient in a way of connecting with my clients and making sure that I'm delivering the things that I need to deliver and getting those results for them. Now, speaking of webinar, and I know this is like a plug for our next session here. Speaking of online sessions and training, all that good stuff, not only we have this weekly session, but we're also going to have our FEMCEO live event in November. So that is going to happen soon here in a few weeks. Oh my gosh, it's already September, but yeah, see, Mark just read my mind. It's like cue in the flyer right there. But it's going to be November 8th. It is online, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your home. You can watch us. I just hope you don't watch us in the bathroom and then turn on your camera. I'm saying, please don't do that because we don't want to see that. But what I'm saying is it's going to be a wonderful educational / training live event that we're going to have. As a matter of fact, we have all the speakers and the entrepreneurs, the coaches who are going to be there. Mark, Elizabeth, and we will be not only entertaining you, but we will be training you along the way for the next 2 or 3 hours during the event, which is about, a few weeks from now, teaching you how to start a business, how to coach, how to speak on stages, and many, many more. So yeah. I'm excited about that. Mark, would you like to add something?
Yes, in the daily sales conversations that I have with a lot of different people, and they're deciding whether to interact with me or with my other offers. And I offer this event because it's the price point is not exuberant, it's affordable. You can actually attend it, right? So it's not thousands of dollars, right? It's something that you can budget, and it's going to be beneficial for your business, and it will give you a primer, something you can use today, like not complicated, but it will give you something you can use today. And I have quite a few people who expressed interest in attending because it's fast, it's value packed, and it's something and it's affordable in terms of, you don't have to take out a mortgage, but you can join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Elizabeth, would you like to say something before we head off for today? Or
just I'm really honored and excited to be a part of it. I heard about it from Mark. I know Mark's done other events with you in the past, and it sounds like it brings together a great group of people, the attendees as well. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of that and sharing my wisdom and gaining all the wisdom from the other speakers as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. We can't do it without you. So yeah. Absolutely. Now, Crystal, I know we only have a couple of minutes here to go, but Crystal, again, that was a great presentation. I know you had it, girl. I said, come on, you're a rock star,
Yeah, I tried to come through. I tried to represent. So I hope that, it was very informational, that everybody has a better sense of like kind of what I do, and if I can help you, the services that I offer. And I have a fun time doing it. I have a fun time doing this. I'm gonna be at this conference. I have overlapping conferences. So the same time that this one is happening, I have another one happening. So I'm gonna chime in. I'm gonna jump on the call. Like I'll be in and out throughout the day. But I am super excited about the conference coming up in November, and can't wait to see what is gonna be on the agenda.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for another episode next week. And don't worry, all the tools that we have mentioned, all the websites that we mentioned, don't worry, give me a couple of hours, but I will definitely put all the information below this video. And that way you can have the information that you need in order to connect with us. And even as soon as actually Crystal give us the affiliate link for Remarkable,
I know, right?
we can give her, our money. No, portion of our money. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Until next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.